off the bat, MJ from PH says marriage is divine. You only renew things that are carnal and natural. Marriage is not a driving license. When you get married, you were not given a license but a life certificate. So stop these nonsense questions. MJ is saying. All right, this one here says marriage license care. I didn't even know people get marriage license in this country. All I know is that people go, you pay your price and you go with your wife. Did they still give marriage license? Calvin, yes. The courts give a marriage license, a marriage certificate, if you didn't know. Zion is in GRA. Zion, good morning to you, please.
Do not follow that opinion. That opinion is damaging, and it comes from a damaged mind.
Really?
I'm telling you. Be mindful of the kind of interaction you have now that you are still single. I want to ask you, Jude, thank God you can drive. If you issue a driver's license to a person who don't know how to drive and you give him your SUV, what will happen to that car?
Well, likely have an accident.
Is it the driver's license that is a problem? Is it the car that is a problem? Or is the individual who don't know how to drive? Marriage is spiritual. I want you to put this on record. If our parents were behaving the way we are behaving today in marriage, they would have been successful giving birth to us. At the verge of could have abandoned that marriage, at the verge of our mother to get our fetus conceived. You see, this generation, we are too exposed early to man and woman issue. So the thing has corrupt our mind. We don't even know the premise of marriage. We don't know what to do. A lot of people getting married today don't know how to marry. They don't have the prerequisite for marriage. Their minds are not matured enough. Maturity, see, take every marriage. Between the age of 28 and 40, couples must have serious problem. Every marriage, including my own, and yours will also go the same way. At this period, it is when the differentials will be brought on the table. It is when decisions will be made. And it is when I get everything will fly into your mind. So have been so corrupt before that period that you get married, your marriage may not survive.
Okay, Zion, so you think this idea of renewed license for marriage, you think it's not feasible?
That is a damaged mind that is making this opinion. Let him go renew his mind, reinvent himself. All men are the same.
Okay. All right, Okonkwo is in Rumbokuta. Okonkwo, thank you for your patience. Join us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
What has marriage license to do with marriage divorce? Instead of it to talk of the business and money, bad condition in the country that has affected the home economy.
Okonkwo, excuse me. Hello, Okonkwo. Did you listen to the premise of the conversation? Did you listen to the premise of the conversation, Okonkwo?
Yeah, I listen. You said
okay. Wait, hold on.
Be revoked because it does contribute to divorce.
Okay, you probably didn't get it. So the question was posed to me, and person says, "Look, I think it's a conversation that people need to have because we're seeing a lot of we're seeing a lot of divorces, and he's opining that just the way people renew their certificates, renew their updates, even certain aspects of their qualifications, that's the same way that people should take marriage, right?" This person says, "Look, marriage for all intents and purposes is a contract," and he's saying, "Look, if after a while you're not happy in that contract, right, then there should be right a caveat for you to renew or to end that contract." So he says, look, every 5 years, and I'm like, okay. I just asked a colleague of mine about this a while ago. I said, every 5 years, do you think that makes sense? So after 5 years, just the same way you go to your licensing office and then, hey, I want to get a new driver's license. Let me do the same thing with my marriage. So that makes a very good point. Now, there are so many people on the streets of Port Harcourt who do not have driver's licenses, but they are driving right now. Some of them are pretty good at it. Let's not be pretentious about this. Some of them are great drivers, but they have refused to go and renew their driver's license. Does that take away from them that they are good drivers? But on the other hand, in the eyes of the law, ladies and gentlemen, if that same good driver that you have been using for 5 years now, right, is being held by a policeman or by the Federal Road Safety Corps member and says, hello, sir, you do not have a driver's license. So in the eye of the federal government of Nigeria, you are not a legalized driver, and as such, you are doing something contrary to the stipulations of the law, and you could be punished. You see why you need your driver's license? So, if we juxtapose both scenarios now, I have to ask, just the same way the question was asked to me, once again, I get a lot of emails concerning so many weird issues, and this one piqued my interest. So the question is, should marriages undergo the same type of treatment in a bid to counteract divorce rates? So if for whatever reason you are not happy, after 5 years, it's in the contract. The contract says after 5 years, if you don't like them, no problem, you feel go. Make sense to you?
For more talk, news and sports, stay tuned to Nigeria Info.
We'll be right back after this.
morning, and as anticipated, we are getting a plethora of views on our final conversation, the big one this morning. And the question I asked is simple. Do you think marriage vows and licenses should be regularly renewed to reduce divorce cases or divorce rates as we experience them? Do people get to feel trapped in certain marriages? At least that's the premise of the person whose email I got to read a few days ago. Now, before we get to the headline news, let me share some thoughts. And yes, all thoughts are welcome as long as you keep them civil and without insult. That's the basic thing in having constructive conversations here on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Now, Engineer CK Oguze in Futo says, it's an Imo State by the way, says the institution called marriage is a sacred one that has attributes of virtue, decency attached to it. It is an institution which of recent has been hit with complexities, and the least we can do is to help sanitize it. This your topic will not do this. Rather, it will make the institution become even more hopeless. One, this marriage renewal license implies that once it expires, we throw away the children and do away with the partners, I guess. Marriage is not a money-making institution. Number two, if we want to have intelligible conversations, we can talk about the role of religious leaders to the development of our nation, because government is the God we see. We can discuss the effect of lack of proper education for political leaders. We can discuss the effect of our behaviors to the negative trends on moral decay in Nigeria. It's more intelligent to discuss that and negative effect of religion and tribalism in our unity. This topic will cause more harm than good. Let us discuss how to discourage divorce and promote it. The violence is too much. Well, Engineer CK, okay, so did you get the bit about how this might help stem divorce cases? It's one of them. You are trying to, as well, that's a question that I'm asking, in a bit of foster a bit more sense and respect, maybe reverence to the institution. How respected is it? Now, once again, from a legal standpoint, once you're married, go to the court, you are giving your marriage certificate, boom, you're gone. But I'm not sure some of you know, this is what I had to read to find out, that in some parts of the world, you are actually encouraged, in fact, you're mandated to renew your marriage licenses for whatever reason. I'm not talking about your marriage vows. Your marriage vows is when you go maybe to your place of worship or maybe amongst friends. That's different. You can do that. No problem. The news. When we come back, we'll get back to your views on this very interesting subject matter. Here, 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Headline News, Nigeria Info.
experience them. It's 11:34 a.m. It's time for us to get back to our conversation. And this morning I asked the question, should marriage licenses be renewed? Should marriage vows and licenses, should they be renewed? Should marriage as a whole come under scrutiny? Some sort of assessment to determine if you should go on or you should, as it were, shake hands, say sayonara, and wish the other person good luck and the best in their endeavors. Well, that is where we are this morning.
This is 92.3 Nigeria Info. The only place hot is not.
The opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeria Info FM. Nigeria Info, let's talk.
So 017-923-0002, 017-923-0003. WhatsApp and Telegram available on 0809-030-6416, 0809-030-6416. Join us on Facebook and on X at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH for Facebook and on X at Nigeria Info PH. That's where you find us this morning. All right, let's get to have you join us in our conversation. All right, let's get it. Let's see. Let's start to read some of these comments. They're coming in. I'm struggling to keep up. Okay, all right. Let's start here. I've read CKOKC's message. Aha. Let's go on to the next one. Good morning, Jude. Chris here says, renewing marriage certificate will lead to many chaos. Imagine your wife telling you, I will not sign my part of this certificate unless you credit me or build a house for my parents. It's devilish entirely. All right, thank you very much. My religious organization made a court marriage certificate compulsory so that it will be recognized by the law of the land. If your intentions are genuine and you are committed, you will not be afraid of getting a court marriage certificate. If the law of the land wants it renewed, then it is up to them, but it's not necessary for Christians, as adultery is the only biblical reason to end a marriage. All right, thank you very much. No name with that one. Presenter, good morning. If we are to renew our marriages, what happened to the children that are involved? The physique of a woman and a man that has been altered over this period. Marriage is not like every other document or our identity card. True. You know, you spend time with the person, you guys go through different phases, like I said, and stages. But you have to ask yourself this question, and I think it's a question a lot of people all around the world are asking these days. Is that, in quotes, union, is it enough to challenge your mental health, your spiritual growth, etc.? There are people who have left marriages who came up and say, oh, thank God I can now breathe. This was not the right place for me. I went there with a good intention, but maybe I wasn't prepared. Maybe I didn't see things properly, or maybe this life happened and, we, in quotes, we realized we wanted two different things in life. So would you fault somebody who has come to their realization and say, no, say must? You married, stay there. But if there is a renewal mandated that stipulates after 8 years, 10 years, you can come together and say, okay, we've been together for 10 years. Let's continue. Would that help? Checkmate it? 92.3. Good morning. Hello, Port Harcourt.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning to you.
I'm Mr. calling from Juba.
Go on, please.
Yeah, the Bible said that what God has joined together, let no man under. And marriage is like a vow. A vow in the church, I will give you something, if you do something to me. Bible says it's not of you to vow and not to pay. Keep your mouth shut. Don't vow. Because if you vow and if you to pay, God Almighty will require it. He will mind for it. If you don't do it, you pay the consequence of it. That's how marriage is. Because in marriage, there is no divorce. But the fact that have entered that union is forever, except that.
Hold on. Even when the person, after maybe 10 years, 15 years, says, no, this union is not helping me. are you saying it's not fair for the person to say, you know what, I not do again?
That's why you have to prepare. That's why
people have prepared.
When you enter in.
People have prepared.
Why? That's what I think.
People have prepared. Thank you very much. You see, once again, all right. In fact, as we're having this conversation, I'm getting to read your comments. I'm beginning to understand exactly where this person who sent me this email is coming from. People do prepare. You know, people don't necessarily want to come into a marriage and say, "Oh, I want to have a heartbreak at some point in time." I don't think anybody does. But life happens. Messages, and yes, like I said, a lot of them are coming through. Now, it's like saying the cure for murder cases is to stop having children or issuing birth certificate. Society, media, and religions have groomed people to think of marriage as this thing that one's entire life is leading up to, which is why some people take disrespect just so they will marry. It is also why we legit have people out there suffering post-nuptial depression. They get disappointed after the wedding when they find out that marriage is not the panacea they assumed or hoped. I used to tell people to calm down so they won't enter situationship imposed by customs, recognized by law or enforced by religion, that they will start looking for justification to exit. But most of them chose to misunderstand. So I left them, and now I am watching them implode on Instagram and on Facebook. Chief Owen says, marriage license renewal will not just counter divorce rate, but it will also tackle the issue of domestic violence in marriages, and it will help marriage sweeter and better. Partners will put in their A game for their partners to accept to renew their marriage. Osinachi, the late gospel singer, would still be alive if we had this in place, because she would not have agreed to renew her marriage. That's an interesting take. If there is a point legally that you can say, okay, we need to come and have a look, an assessment. Are you going to continue? Sign on this dotted line. If not, sign here and say you don't want to do. Obi Owen is saying some people may choose to opt out. It will save lives. It will counter divorces. King Aloze says, Aloze, this is on the John Krama issue. All right, let's move on. All right. Okay, this one here says, once again, Jude, you have started causing problems. What exactly is this issue concerning marriages and why you want people to divorce? Oh, let me stop you right there. I don't want people to divorce. I'm only asking a question posed to me that makes a lot of legal sense. Logical sense. May not be legal, but logical sense. If you have the opportunity to assess, it's like having a partnership, right? People over time will sit down. Okay, 5, 6 years, we've been doing this business together. Let's review what we have learned so far. Is there a way forward? NS is speaking to us from Omudioga. NS, good morning to you. Welcome. Hello, Port Harcourt.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
Well, I think what they are saying, when I'm listening, I'm just laughing because I think the person that sent that message, maybe he's not married. Or maybe marriage is having something. I don't know what to place it. But to be honest, that thing will not marriage. Rather, it will destroy more marriage. Because let me tell you, for instance, I'm a married person.
Okay.
I've been married for 5 years. And for my first year, no issue. For my second year, we have some little challenge. My third year, we have little challenge. And my fourth and fifth year, everything comes down. In marriage, it's always up and down. It is based on individual. There's no rules that guide marriage generally. It is an individual rules that work for them based on their own understanding and mindset that they brought into the marriage. So we talk about renewal of certificate. The renewal of certificate does not even make marriage to continue. They can renew today, and tomorrow the worst will happen.
True.
What do you do?
Very true.
It's just like when you went to renew your driving license today, and your vehicle had an accident the next day. So what does the driving license do? Does it make the vehicle to move? No, it does not. we only permit you to drive another vehicle. So which means I renew my certificate today, and my wife do something tomorrow that demands me to leave my wife, so I can take her certificate to go and pick another girl. No.
Okay.
So the certificate is just a paper. It is not even the marriage.
True.
These are just the government things. These are the things that we obtain from the government and the church.
Okay.
Just to legalize.
Just to legalize.
Publicly, we did this to witness of the witness of people. That's not really what the marriage. I can tell you, my certificate, I don't even say it. Yes, it's not what makes the marriage work.
Wait, Ernest, but let me read for you what Chief said. Chief said, look, it will help marriages become better because partners will put their A game. That's your best level. If you know that if you mess up, my partner will say, I'll not do again. Do you agree with that comment? That's what Chief is saying.
No, I did not agree. Let me tell you why. The reason why I said I did not agree is that my wife can wake up tomorrow and say she's no longer interested in the marriage. She has the right to go to my church. I'm a Catholic. She can go to the hospital and say, I don't want to this marriage again. The church has their tribunal. They will call both of us, and she will tell that reason why she doesn't want the marriage again. If the church see the reason to be, maybe if it's a battle, maybe I used to beat her, and she has every proof of when I've beaten her, they are bruising. The church we say both of you should go your separate way until you are ready to be husband and wife that will not be fighting each other.
So, but Ernest, you see what you just described, right? How is that any different? Oh, wait, listen. How is that any different from having a stipulated time when you and your wife will now sit there and say, okay, let's agree whether we are going forward or we are not going again? There's not much difference between what you just said.
Okay, let me explain to you. It's different because the way I say it's different is that we can be having quarrels today now. And when we renew our vows maybe in December, and I now have something else on my party between December. I have one good money that enter my hand.
You just spray away.
And I want to buy one cleaner. Maybe send her go and do a visa to go to UK in January. So for January, do you think that my wife will December say he doesn't want the marriage again?
But what if she really doesn't want the marriage even after you've gotten her visa? Muriel is in Africa. Muriel, good morning to you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Jude. Good morning.
Good morning. Welcome.
Look, thank you, Jude. I don't agree. I don't like this idea, honestly, of going back to renew it and look, Jude. Do you know the kind of society? Even now that there's a little bit of caution. Some people are cautious of maybe their past or maybe religion, because for the sake of God, let me just continue this marriage, or for the sake of one or two things, let me just continue. I know that there are other side effects to all these kind of decisions to God. So even I just cautious of one or two things, let me just say, at the end of the day, Jude, there are some persons when they stay, when all these struggles and challenges comes, when they stay, and at the end of the day, just give them some years. You see that things will begin to change. Look, Jude, if you allow for this going back to renew your vow to finish your fit to marry, some people will take this marriage as a kind of business, like contract. Trust me, Jude,
but hold on, Miro. In some parts of the world, I'm sorry to interrupt, but in some part of the world, that's the way some people already see it. That's why people have prenuptial agreement. If you do so and so, I'm not gonna do it again. If you leave me by so and so, I will not give you money. It's a contract. It's already a contract.
I know in the West, in the abroad, they do all those things. They take marriage lightly. Trust me. So I don't want us to compare ourselves with the Africans, Jude. We should also our sanity, our core values, Jude. When I thought just were practice of system, women will get the plot the most. A man will just decide, I love this man. Let me just marry after I get 10 years. All of 5 days, I will leave her, I will enter the next one. And look, it's not like that. But a woman who has entered into one marriage and has given it to 1, 2, or 3, it will be difficult for her to get another husband.
Miro, I have Richard in the element.
Man, it will be like a game, Jude.
Wait. Okay. Let's get to hear from Richard. What? So Mira was saying, maybe Mira can call back. Mira was saying, okay, it's going to be like a game. It's going to hurt the woman. The man will probably just go and meet another woman. The woman who has already had a child. I have heard stories, of people, male and female, who have spent 10, 15 years with someone, even 20 years. And after a while says, no, I'm not. I don't enjoy it. Something is not right here. Now, some of you have sent me some messages, and I laugh at them. They'll say, "Oh no, Jude, this is coming from you." There's a person here says, "I know this whole idea is coming from you." It's not coming from me. My email is open. It's on the open space. I get a lot of emails. I read a lot. I research and I ask questions. So you probably haven't listened to our show on Sunday mornings. It's a totally different kettle of fish. So please, all right? I may not be married, but it doesn't mean I don't want to be married. If I had that my way, I'd have married like when I was like 20. I'd have given birth to like 20 children. You don't know that. You don't know that. But the beautiful thing about these conversations, whether I like them or I don't, the questions are very genuine, and you only have to wonder, how exactly did this person come to this? And is there sense in this? What are the views to this? WhatsApp now, 009-030-6416. 009-030-6416. We have a message here from Anonymous, says that there is no way of knowing what Osinachi would have done. It probably sounds weird, but I felt married to my husband long before we signed anything. The paper is not the marriage, as the caller said. It has nothing to do with being African or not valuing marriage. I offered my husband a prenup. He's wealthier than I am. And he said no. He said no. Jude, any good man or woman will love this because they know that their spouse will not have any reason not to sign the renewal papers. But bad people will hate it because they know their spouses will leave them at the slightest opportunity. That's from Chief Obi Owing. All right, on Facebook at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook, and on X, that's Twitter, at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us this morning. Join us and let's get to hear your views on our subject matter this morning. Talking about marriage vows and big one, should they be renewed? Do you think it's up to it? Now, if renewing marriage license becomes a law, more persons will look forward to their expired certificates instead of trying to work things out. So I don't recommend. Now, Bakel Menogbo John says, none of it stands again. That take those vows just to impress. People take the vows just to impress. Anyway, I think we have time for one more call, and I'll read a few more of these messages on this subject. Good morning, Jude. On marriage vow renewal, I think it's not a great idea. The institution of marriage is sacred beyond what people write on paper or indeed what a group of people have said is marriage. It is a union between two souls. If two souls agree to spend time, no amount of papers or amount of charging from anybody will make them married or unmarried. But if these souls, for whatever reason, decide to go on their separate way, then let them be. Okay. Chidi, let's agree with your premise that if two souls decide to come together and after they decide to go on their own, we should let them be, right? Great. My question to you is this: how do they get to that point where they decide that they want to go their separate ways? Isn't it some form of assessment? Isn't it some form of, adjudication? Let's come, you judge this, let's judge this. Let's put this on the scale of equity. Okay, I'm not quite enjoying this. How is that any different, please, from having a scheduled renewal? How is that different? Anyway, my name is Jude. I'm going to leave you with these questions that have been asked. You sit down with your friends and your family members, have a further discussion. Who knows? Maybe we will revisit this conversation. Maybe when I get to hear from the person and get more views on this subject matter. I think the person's a lawyer, by the way. Anywho, my job here is done. Ask the questions. Stay safe. Don't forget, news comes up your way in 6 minutes. After that, the sunny side of conversations right here on 92.3 Nigeria Info. Arsenal were just good enough for a draw over the weekend. They didn't play very well, so no Arsenal fan time for you guys. Chelsea were probably the better team on the day. Yes, they played better in the first half, but the second half, I don't know. And then Manchester United having to give a performance in honor, really, for the late Sir Bobby Charlton, who passed away. So, yeah, a lot of great things happened in football. Real Madrid drawing. Atletico Madrid look like the form team at the moment. Manchester City just getting by. Well, Champions League will be here tomorrow, and the Sports Gang will give you all the rundown that you need. Right here, 90.3 Nigeria Info.